See. Monday, June 26th meeting of the Parks and Shade Tree Commission will now come to order. And the first thing on the agenda is a roll call.
Carolyn Diefendorfer present.
Marty Marino present.
Renee Simonton present.
And Chairman Laura Ritter present, and Katie Downs is not going to be here. Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes.
I'd like to make a motion that we defer the approval of the minutes until the next meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do you want to vote? Does anyone object?
No.
Okay, we unanimously agreed to approve the minutes at the next meeting. There being no old business, we will now move along to the purpose of this meeting, which is to conduct an administration appeal hearing pursuant to the Comprehensive Tree Ordinance of the Municipal Code of the City of Rehoboth Beach, requested by Jeff Meredith of Sussex Tree on behalf of Angela Murray and Theresa Crivelli, owners of the property located at 405 Stockley Street Extended. And the issue pertains to a determination of a fee in lieu of mitigation for 38 inches of replanting. Would the city arborist like to tell us what's happening?
The following is the report of the city arborist with regard to the above referenced appeal that is to be heard before the commission on Monday, June 26, 2023. The applicant submitted a tree removal application for one 40-inch diameter dead white oak tree. White oaks are considered high-value trees supporting hundreds of insects, mammals, and birds. There are several trees remaining on the property. 10-inch hickory, a 6-inch holly, 20-inch juniper, 18-inch juniper, 27-inch juniper, and 18-inch oak. They're all listed in the table with the conditions ranging from poor to good. There are also trees located on the city right-of-way adjacent to 405 Stockley Street Extended. We have 3 2-inch southern magnolias, a 4-inch hickory, and a 2-inch redbud, mostly in good condition. The trees on the right-of-way were required as replacements by the Park and Shade Tree Commission's decisions on June 22nd and August 24th in 2020, allowing the removal of 16 street trees. One previous private property permit was issued in April 2020 to remove 17 trees for a new construction home. The mitigation from that permit was met by trees remaining on site, so there were no planting requirements at the time. The previous mitigation plus the new mitigation created a deficit of diameter inches on the site, thus triggering replanting requirements of 38 inches. Further, the property no longer meets the minimum density sub-requirements. The lot is 7,250 square feet with a minimum density of 4 trees. 253-26B1D states that no more than 1/3 of the trees counted towards the density requirements may be evergreens. Therefore, the subject property is one native deciduous tree short of meeting the minimum requirements. It is my recommendation that the applicants be required to plant a replacement tree meeting the minimum density requirements. The remaining mitigation inches, which will be either 35 or 36 inches, should be accounted for by a payment of a fee in lieu as the commission deems appropriate. As per 253-36 Administrative Appeals, the Parks and Shade Tree Commission has the sole authority to grant a fee in lieu mitigation. A fee in lieu mitigation may be granted only by the Park and Shade Tree Commission through the appeals process and upon a recommendation from the city arborist. Before granting a fee in lieu of mitigation, the applicant must demonstrate that the replacement of trees on the project site is not a viable option because meeting the requirements of this article would result in undue hardship, that all reasonable alternatives relevant to protection and mitigation have been exhausted, and that granting a fee in lieu of mitigation will not adversely impact the intent and purposes of these regulations. This was the original site plan they had way back in the day, so.
Liz, the tree has been removed, right?
Yes, it was stone cold dead. So safety wise, they were able to get somebody to come in, which you all know, normally if the tree was alive and not a hazard, it would still be standing until the decision was made by the commission, but in emergencies, we allow that authorization. And it's noted in the permit that the fee in lieu is to be determined by the commission. So usually what we do is wait until they file their application and the payment, and then we issue the permit, which is what we did in this case.
Does anyone have any questions of the city arborist?
Well, should we ask questions now or wait until they present?
It's up to you.
Okay. Would the applicant like to address the commission?
Do you guys want me to leave this up here?
Yes.
Yes, please.
You can come to the podium. You can come to the podium too. You can feel fancy at the podium.
You can point to things too if you feel like it.
Okay. Hi, I'm Theresa Crivelli. So I know that Liz said that this is the original, but since we have been on the property, we have planted 5 additional trees, which are not noted on this site plan, if I'm correct. Is that right, Liz?
They do not meet the minimum size requirements to be qualified as trees under city code.
Including the magnolias?
The southern magnolias are noted on there, the ones in the right of way.
Okay.
In my report, sorry.
Okay, so, because I know we have 3 magnolias.
Yep.
And then we have that, is it a red bud?
Yes,
On
but
the
those,
front?
yeah, that is noted in the commission on the report in the second table.
Okay, because
It's
I'm
in there.
not sure if it's on here. I just want to.
No, they're not on
that.
there.
Okay. And that evergreen that we have on school side, is that also counting?
Everyone has my report. All the trees located on and adjacent to the property are noted in the tables on my report. The site plan up there was the original prior to the development of, like, right when you can see the proposed 2-story dwelling. That was the site plan submitted to build the house 3 years ago, okay?
Okay, so I just want to express that when we were building this home, we did everything to save that oak tree, including moving our pool, which cost us even more money because then we had to do new plans. So the tree originally was going to be in the middle of the pool, and I don't think that would have worked out. So we literally moved the pool over to save that tree. And that tree died of disease and then was just falling apart. And according to Sussex Street, Jeff, when he told me what it had, I looked up that disease, which says it spreads quickly to other trees, and you cannot stop it. So we wanted to get the tree down as quick as possible, besides the fact that large pieces of bark were falling down. It was becoming very dangerous, and we had all those storms that passed through. So right now, they did take the tree down, but those roots are still under there, so, I mean, we can't plant there. And we are looking to not put another tree on the property, and that's why we're asking for the fee in lieu of mitigation for the amount of trees, since we've planted many trees after we've put the house up. And we still have quite a few trees on the lot. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for the applicant?
No, I think right now my question is for Liz.
Okay.
I
Thank
did have
you.
one quick clarifying question, just to help everyone here, make sure their decision is supported by substantial evidence. I saw in the appeal application, the white oak was 28 inches, and then I thought I heard Liz say it was 40 inches, so I just wanted to make sure we're on the same.
Probably the 28 was measured at, like, what is industry standard, 4.5 feet, which is for me about shoulder height. As you know, the city code calls for measurement at 12 inches, so. And the surveyors do it at 12 inches.
Thanks.
Okay. So I guess my one question for Liz is I'd like to understand where the inches, the 35, 36 inches, where that comes from. Because it's my understanding with the code that when a tree is dead, you're replacing 1 inch for every 2 inches removed. So I want to understand the calculation of those inches.
Yeah, so that's true. They had, as I mentioned, previous permits on the property removing 17 trees, and that created mitigation, which the existing white oak offset. So now that the white oak is dead, the little bit of mitigation for that, plus the 40 inches that it was covering, added up. So that does happen occasionally. So say the tree was healthy and had to come out and it was 40 inches and they had already had mitigation, they would have had 40 inches previous mitigated. It would almost be like 80 inches. So it can be like double is worse sometimes.
Okay, so basically the fact that the oak was used to mitigate previously.
Without any plant, it eliminated, like when they bought the lot, it was it was like
Wooded.
It was not wooded, woods, with no spot to really put a house, quite frankly. So they did their best situating it. And as she mentioned, they worked with the city to move, to relocate and try to fall in the tree code where you're supposed to do your best, most diligent process. Unfortunately, the oak got what looked like hypoxylin canker, which is related to construction and is a death sentence, essentially. Like if they had other white oaks on the property and they left it, like eventually, I mean, I had clients in the past where they would have a forested yard and every single oak there would have hypoxylin canker eventually. So it was obvious that it had to come out.
Right.
Probably even before I saw it and it was dead, it probably you noticed the bark falling off and you're like, oh, that's not good. And then like 1 month later.
Right.
Yeah.
And because the tree's already gone, they didn't have an option of pulling this appeal and refiling with under the new code.
Yes. The permit was issued back in March.
Okay. All right.
And just on that point, to clarify for everyone, this is under the old code.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Unfortunate for you, the new code passed last week,
Yeah, that's the 16th, yeah.
16th, two Fridays ago, and had the tree still been standing and the permit issued after, you'd be looking at one tree.
Yeah.
Correct.
So if
Yep.
the tree had died 4 months later, basically.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm being punished for taking down.
Yeah, wait, you have to,
You can sit at the table.
So let me help to understand this. I'm being penalized for doing the right thing and getting rid of that tree after I watched all the trees in my neighborhood, many of them, go through homes, go through the townhomes by the lake with all of these storms to get that tree down when it needed to get down. And now it's going to cost me even more money. I don't see that being fair across the board at all. So I
Well,
should have just left the tree there, and then somebody could have been
yeah.
killed.
I mean, had this appeal happened 30 days ago or 60 days ago when you filed for it, we wouldn't even be thinking about the new code. It wasn't in place. But yeah, unfortunately, timing is not on your side.
Well, but the other way to think about it is, had the development occurred under the new code, they would have had to replant a ton of
Yes.
trees. So
Yes.
probably.
Yes.
And the fees are much, much higher now as well,
Exactly, yeah.
including the fee to come here.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, in one way, it's bad for you, but in one way, it's good for you, as Liz pointed out. We have a lot of flexibility on the actual fee.
Yeah, the actual fee, unless I'm wrong, the fee in lieu of mitigation is completely up to us, isn't that right?
That's
It
correct.
can be 0 to,
Yeah.
$15,000, which is, it would be almost $15,000 if we went by our
Past,
previous 400
yeah, but
bucks per inch.
the commission has no authority to forgive them of the tree owed for minimum density, though. That is out of that purview.
right, so
They already have to
there's-
do that, or are we supposed to?
There's one tree that they're required to plant
Yes.
because of the minimum density requirement.
I mean, it could be, and it has to be on their property. Let me make that clear. But it can be any native species. So it could be a small dogwood, a small redbud. And that's why in my report, I mentioned it would be either 35 or 36 inches because
Gets it 2 to 3.
so the small species, a redbud or a dogwood, can be a minimum of 2, and a say if they wanted to plant another oak, it would be 3 inches.
Right.
So that's why I
Okay.
said 30, that 1 inch range.
Okay. Are you opposed to planting a small tree on your property for that? Because if not, we're looking at more inches. Correct, Liz? I mean,
No,
no,
there's no option.
there's no option. They have to plant this, a tree
Yes.
to cover that
Yes.
because you're below the minimum density requirement.
But it does take away whatever
Yes,
inches those
yeah.
are overlapping. So in the new code, it's not the same, but in this
Right.
code, those concepts are overlapping.
Right, right. Okay.
And
Could they plant more trees if they wanted to?
Yes, of course. I mean, they do have a pretty wooded. Yeah, because the back neighbor has a
Right,
lot
where
of
there's
trees.
stuff on the lines of the other houses. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they have room for a couple of small trees, but nothing,
right.
they're not
So-
going to be able
right.
to reforest the lot by
No,
any means.
no.
Tree able to go in the right of way? Where we
No.
put the red bud?
No, it's minimum density for the private property.
Because it's a large lot, right?
Yeah, it's not, well, it's oversized, it's
slightly.
oversized in the scheme of Rehoboth. It's more than 5,000 square feet.
But not in
Slightly.
the scheme of Schoolview, which is my
Schoolview
neighborhood.
is part of Rehoboth, unfortunately, so you have the same code to adhere to. And you've got, their minimum is 4, I think. I think that's what you said.
I believe that's
But
what
the-
it says in
you're-
the
Yes.
report, yeah.
But only a third of them can be evergreen.
True, but I have trees in my yard that are not evergreen.
I think the
in-
issue
in the
is
fence.
the holly and the 3 junipers and the holly are evergreen. So only a third of those can
The
count.
holly's not counting.
No, because it's an evergreen.
It's a very strange thing because we've had people with backyards of 10 pine trees and it's still only counted as 1. So it's a very odd.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I had to take down an oak, and I got caught up with the 1/3 evergreen thing too. So I feel your pain.
It's strange.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have, that is a red bud, Liz, am I correct? The one in the right of way?
Yes. Yeah, you have a red bud and a couple of southern magnolias.
Yeah, unfortunately, trees on city property are not considered
So-
yours.
Can we put that cousin of the red bud, the weeping, is it called weeping red bud, the one that comes like this?
The weeping red buds typically don't meet the minimum of 15-foot height. There are some weeping trees that do, like a weeping cherry, for example, would get 15 feet tall. But you could do a Summers Tower red bud, which is kind of like a narrow V shape. Those have gotten pretty popular if you can find them. You know which one I mean? And they don't take up much room. I think they get a maximum of maybe 8 feet wide total.
So I can discuss after we're done here which tree we can plant? That would do
And I'm sure
best?
Sussex
Okay.
has some good suggestions, but I'm sure you could figure out a spot to sneak a red bud in a corner or something like that. Yeah, because the dogwoods are a little bit wider, but there's a couple of magnolias as well that might, small deciduous ones. Yeah, away from the pool.
Okay, so she has to plant one, you have to plant one tree. That'll lower the required inches, that'll meet the code and lower the required number of inches for mitigation. It sounds like you don't have in mind to plant any other trees, because each inch that you reduce reduces the amount of the, I mean, it costs a lot of money to plant a tree, I get that. But I'm just mentioning that as one option. One tree will suffice to meet the code.
Right, we would like to just plant one tree,
Okay.
because that's already going to be tight for us as to where we're putting the tree. And I don't want to plant something and then it dies.
No, we don't
right,
either.
right.
We
Right.
don't either.
No, we get that.
It cost us enough to take the dead tree down.
I noticed that it costs a lot of money to take the dead tree down. I hope nothing in my yard dies anytime soon. Okay, so the question before us now is how much this applicant should pay in mitigation for the tree that actually had to come down. And I want to just say that I feel this case is somewhat different from the other ones we had, because this is a case where nature, I mean, the tree had to come down. It wasn't a choice. They did everything they could to, in this case, they moved their pool. We've had other cases where, you know, people dug up to 1 inch of where the tree was. And I mean, I think this applicant has made a lot of effort to try to keep the trees. So I don't think we have to go to the standard that we have set previously. I think this is a special case, and we should consider it as a special case. I mean, I know they're all special cases, but this one in particular deserves a little extra consideration, in my opinion. Does anyone want to make a comment?
I completely agree with you. I mean, I know we have been using 400 in the past. I think that's way too high for this. If we cut it in half and went to $200 on 35 inches, that's $7,000. If we go to 150, that's $5,250. Or if we went down as low as 100, that's $3,500. So I don't know. Somewhere in there is where I'm thinking. I don't know what the others think.
Well, I'm completely sympathetic with your situation. I'm sorry. I agree with Laura and Carol, and I'm completely sympathetic with your situation, and I would go as low as $100 per inch, get it down as low as possible.
I'm in agreement with that as well, particularly in light of the extra effort that they made going, you know, and that they did not have a choice. The applicant did not have a choice as to whether the tree came down.
Right. Right.
Well, I know this is going to surprise everybody, considering our last application, but I don't even think that we have to charge $100. I mean, she's already paid $6,500 to get that
Right.
tree out.
Right.
I would entertain less than $100 if anyone wants to make a motion. How about $25 an inch, or $50?
Before you move forward with that, I'm sorry to interrupt. It would make sense to close the evidence of the public hearing
Yes.
Okay,
before
Okay.
you move forward with a vote.
okay. I'd like to close the public portion of the meeting. All right, now it's just us. Now it's just us. If you guys want to stick to 100, that's, I won't object. But I'm just opening that, because I was so objective, I objected so strongly last time, I just wanted to say,
Right.
I just don't think it's necessary to have to make money, for the city to make money off of this particular problem.
I'm actually in agreement with you. You know, it's going against what we've done in the past a little bit, but I think, given all the circumstances, I would be willing to go as low as 25.
I would too. My only hesitation is that it flies in the face of what we've done in the past. And in terms of establishing a fee that is applicable. I just don't, I'm caught between I don't know how much flexibility we have.
We have, I just asked before the meeting, we have total flexibility in this case. We could go $0 to $1,000 an inch. I mean, any amount. We have total flexibility. And I know this is just your second major case, or, yeah. Each case is considered on its own, because each case has its own particular details. So we're not setting a precedent of, you know, giving a break to everybody. And I would be totally against making this a precedent. I think this is an exceptional case, and so I think it deserves exceptional consideration.
And we need to also keep in mind, under the new code, we have no flexibility. It's a flat amount.
Well, yes and no. So it's a flat amount administratively, so these cases won't be coming to
Right, they
you.
won't come, but I mean, there's really not flexibility, because,
They could appeal for a reduced fee to you in the future.
okay, I guess we need
Or
training.
if it was exceptional circumstances.
What would you all think about an even $1,000 for the 35 inches? Or do you want to, I mean, or if you all want to go lower than that, that's fine. I mean,
What's your ballpark? I mean, what number would,
well, in theory, that money is used to plant trees elsewhere in the city and to make up for those inches in another way, correct?
And maintain, yes.
Planning and maintaining. I guess I'm good with whatever. I mean, you know, somebody wants to make a motion.
you're the only one that ever makes a motion, but.
Well, no. Well, maybe somebody else needs to
Yeah, what
Okay,
happens if you're not
start
here one
today.
day?
Exactly, exactly.
Make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we have a fee in lieu, a flat fee of $1,000, given the extraordinary case that we have before us.
Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Would you repeat the motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion that we would have a flat fee of $1,000 as the fee in lieu for the mitigation.
I have one question. Do we need to include in there the requirement for the one tree, or is that a given?
You could include it in there or do a separate motion. Yeah.
Okay,
All right, let's keep it simple.
let's combine them.
The motion on the table is that we impose a fee of $1,000 to mitigate the 37 or 30, or 36 or 37 inches of mitigation required in this case. A vote of yes means that we set the fee at $1,000. A vote of no means we oppose the fee of $1,000. Would you like to vote?
I vote yes.
What was your vote?
Yes.
I vote yes also.
I vote yes.
Okay, we're unanimous at $1,000 for the fee in lieu of mitigation. Okay, now we need to take up the tree. Why do we have to do that if it's required? I don't
think you have to.
Yeah, you don't have to, just because this is an
Okay.
appeal.
Okay,
It could have made sense, but
okay. So if we don't need to, we don't need to.
If we don't need to, there being no other business? Can we adjourn? Does anyone object?
Well, I do. I have a question unrelated to this case.
Oh,
So, what is the plan for training on the new code?
We're working out dates currently.
Okay.
would everybody be available for the next normal meeting date? That still works for you, right?
Yeah, I think that's the easiest way to do it. That way it's already scheduled here and doesn't have to check with other committees, commissions, staff members and stuff like that. And we don't have any cases, so.
Yeah, that works for me.
that is July 24th.
Yes. We just need to double check with Katie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought we'd wait until this meeting so I didn't have to ask and get
Yeah,
42
the
different
emails.
answers. So,
The emails, but don't reply all, yeah.
Right, right. Okay, thank you.
and then we don't have any cases currently for that date. So we should be able to have our training on the new code and have a little bit of time to think about it, and then we'll come back
You shouldn't, I don't think there's a way in which you would be able to have a case.
without training.
No,
The notice requirement?
yes, and then all the street trees and stuff aren't gonna be coming to you at the outset anymore. So those don't need as much notice, but they won't be here. So I don't think it's possible to have another case, but knock on wood. So,
Okay.
I must say, I really appreciate you coming, and I appreciate the effort you made to save the tree and take down the tree in a timely manner. And I hope that this is as painless as it could be.
I appreciate you working with me. What is the protocol for paying my bill?
if you want to write a check today, you can. Otherwise, we'll send you like a little thing. This is how much you owe, and then you can.
That work, because
Yeah.
I didn't bring my checkbook.
Sure. No,
Taking
just
a credit
kidding.
card.
Nah, you don't. Then you have to pay the 2.5%.
Oh,
So
yeah,
don't pay
yeah, I
on.
forgot where I live.
For $20, not a big deal. But when you're talking 1,000,
Okay, all right, so
Did
you'll
you
send,
say I
you'll
know where
bill
you
me.
live?
Yes. No, down here, everybody wants a check, and people laugh at me. I
yep.
go, you don't understand. They, what check?
We
I
do.
go, we still use a check.
All right.
Okay, and then,
We adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion.
Thank
that we
you.
adjourn the meeting.
I second that.
Okay. Does anyone object? Okay, we're adjourned.
Thank you.